Wizard Wednesdays, now with voiceover.
He was the wizard of 1,000 kings.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Wizard Wednesdays. I'm Jesse Frank. I've got a funny one for you today. He looks pretty happy to me. Got some new stuff for you. Gonna try doing a voiceover, see how that goes. And got some new lighting, and so hoping the quality is gonna continue to improve. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so starting out with just a simple little foil ball, so we don't have to use quite so much clay because it does cost money. Just cover it in the clay, and I like using I'm never sure exactly what I'm going for when I start out. I have a vague idea. Right there, what I did is I took a magnet and popped it in the back so that you can use it as a fridge magnet or something like that as well. I'll take it out before I bake it because it's a rare earth magnet, and that'll make it a little weaker. So with this one, I decided I wanted to give him some teeth. There's a couple ways of going about that. What I thought I'd do on this one was to make each tooth individually, and that way it makes some parts of it easier. You can also put in a strip and kind of carve it out that way too, but I most of the time I like doing it this way. So getting them put in here, then one of the things that I got just recently that you'll see coming up, and you can see it in the top part of the video right now, is a little extruder, which, boy, I tell you, that is something that it really has come in handy, and you'll see in just a little bit how much time it saves me. It cut down my sculpt time by about half because I was spending so much time making those little snakes that it really made making these beards and that sort of thing take quite a while. So now we got the lips on there. With these wizards, I try to make them smile quite a bit. One of the best thing to do, as far as I can tell, with these clays is to make them into, fatter snakes or narrower ones, and it's really easy to blend. I'm using Super Sculpey here, which is very, very soft, but it has an almost flesh-like quality when you're sculpting it. But you do have to be a little careful because it's really soft. Getting the cheeks in there, I even though what I'm doing is silly and kind of whimsical, I pay a little bit attention to what's supposed to be underneath, like skeletal structure and a little bit of the musculature and that sort of thing. I'm doing it a lot less on these than other ones that I've done. And you notice how little things like one cheek's higher than the other, sometimes one eye will be bigger than the other, and that's just to give it character, because I don't want these to look too real. I get kind of creeped out when I see ones that are a little bit too real. So we've got you can kind of see it here. I do a little bit of an armature for the beard as well, out of just same thing, rolled up aluminum foil, and cover that with clay, and that makes it real easy the clay, you can just use it like a glue, and when you put it on there, there's that extruder. Holy cow! I couldn't believe how much time that saved me. That saved me, just that one little squish probably saved me 45 minutes to an hour of work. Absolutely marvelous. I'll just go and do that a few more times. While I'm doing that, I'll also point out I had seen some other artists that use a Lazy Susan to do their work on, and I wasn't doing that initially, and I bit the bullet a couple weeks ago and built one, and holy cow! Once again, that is really just makes things easier, especially when you're doing three-dimensional stuff like this. You have to rotate it around so you can see all sorts of different angles. Otherwise, it might look really good from one viewpoint, the viewpoint that you're looking at it from, but you could turn it and it just looks absolutely awful. So you really do have to turn it around and look at it from a bunch of different angles while you're doing it. Yeah, one of the really nice things about this extruder, and it is the what's the name of it? It is the walnut hollow extruder. I saw a review on it, and that was pretty positive, so it seems pretty durable. I'm sure for what this is, it's a really good product, but it's just an aluminum body that's threaded, and it has little plates that go in, so you can change out the little plates and get different type extrusions, that sort of thing. And it's really handy because I don't have to do I don't have to roll out each snake individually like I'm doing there, but with that little plate, you saw how I was able to do a bunch of them at once. I don't know how many is on that plate, but like maybe 5 of them or so, 5 to 7, and just you can twist those up, and it just really works really, really well. So what you saw there was I'll roll up the eyeballs. I'll give some indentations for them to sit in, and then roll up the eyeballs, put them in, and put some small snakes around it to kind of act like an eye socket, and then put the eyelids over that, and then blend it all in. And what I'm doing there, what kind of looks like a like a skull nose, is just the bottom, or the top lip that I was trying to keep there, which ended up not being necessary once I put on the mustache. But yeah, that's fine. It's not a bad habit to stay in. It's a really good idea to do things in layers, and that's a really good way of making things just have more depth. I mean, when you're looking at it, if, like, for instance, if you're doing a torso or something like that, you sculpt in most of the bones and that sort of thing, and the musculature, and then either roll out a thin skin and put that on there, or smooth out all the muscles that you put on there. Once again, using that extruder to make some twisted eyebrows, add a little bit of interest to that area. You'll see I did that with the mustache too, but I ended up not being happy with it because I felt like with the teeth, it just, having the mustache be twisted just was too much, and it kind of pulled your attention away from his smile, and I didn't want his hair to be the focus of this one, which is why I didn't braid his beard either. Although I'll probably do that next week. I'll do one with a braided beard. You can see popping the nose on there. I've gone through a couple different ways of making noses, and right now this seems to be the best one, where instead of what I was doing initially was I would kind of make the nose part, and I would pop that on there and get it stuck on, and then I'd roll up a couple nostrils, pop those on there. That works good, but just doing the whole thing at once is making things go fast. That's one of the things that I'm trying to do. Is I want things to look good, but I also have to get it done quickly. So that is one of the things that I really have to concentrate on, is making sure that I'm doing things in a timely manner. And I know a lot of people will, sometimes folks will have the idea that, oh, well, I'm not doing this for money, you know, I'm not going to sell these, so I can take as long as I want. And that's kind of true, but for the most part, if you're doing it as a hobbyist, you don't have the time. I mean, you spend all your time doing other things, so you don't have the time to spend doing it, which means that the more efficient you are working, the more work you get done in the little bit of time that you have to work on it. So getting the ears done, same thing with the ears. I've gone through a couple different ways of doing these, and for these big ears, just doing it like this works pretty well. So I'll do a couple of spheres and then press them out like you saw, and then I'll put some more spheres in there to get it to stick a little better, because there's not much surface area there that they're being held on with. And you know, just get that smoothed out. I have several things that I'm using for the first time today, because I just had a order come in last night. One is that stylus tool that you see me using. I'd seen other folks using them, and what I had been using was the end of my dental pick, which works okay, but it doesn't have a real round profile to it, so it does some things real well. But these little ball end stylus tools really do a good job of blending things in and making it look pretty good.
So that's it for this week's Wizard Wednesdays. I hope you liked it, and never stop creating. We'll see you next week.